If you rarely initiate sex in your relationship and it's becoming an issue because your partner doesn't feel your desire, they don't feel like they're wanted by you, they don't feel pursued by you, they're starting to feel even like asking you for sex is becoming some kind of chore to you, then this can really hurt a relationship. And at the same time, if you are never finding yourself, spontaneously in the mood, then trying to initiate sex for you might feel like forcing yourself to do something that you don't actually want to do, and it can actually feel like overriding your body in a way that's ultimately harmful to your relationship, to your partner, and to sex in general. If you're looking for a solution to this problem, you are in the right place. I'm Michelle Martinez, a certified sex, love, and relationship coach, and I am on a mission to help humanity thrive sexually and spiritually. Today, I'm going to share 5 things that I learned from initiating sex for 28 days in a row. And the reason I think my experience might be helpful to you is because in my relationship, I am the partner who usually is not the one initiating sex. I have what is called responsive sexual desire, which means that the desire for sexual intimacy does not arise very spontaneously in me. I usually need some kind of context, some reason to feel turned on. Whereas spontaneous desire people want sex more in like the same kind of way that they get hungry or feel like they need to move their body. It happens spontaneously or more kind of organically after a certain amount of time of not having it. But what happened is that in January sometime, it became apparent to me that the imbalance in my relationship between like how often I was initiating sex and how often my husband was initiating sex was not fair. I could see that it was negatively impacting him to feel like it was always on him. It was always his job to, initiate sex, and he never got to be the receiver of my sexual initiation. And I wouldn't say never, because I definitely do, but it's still, the balance wasn't there. And at that time, I was gearing up to run a live round of the Everyday Embodiment Challenge, which lasts for 4 weeks, and it was going to run for 28 days every day in February. And so I decided that this would be my version of the challenge. Because not only did I want to do this to restore the balance in the relationship and help, my partner feel how I desire him and want him and find him attractive and all of that, but I also know from being someone who has studied sexuality a lot and really understands the benefits of having a thriving sex life, I wanted to make it a higher priority in my own life. So that's why I decided to do this. And I also just think it's really important to note that we have a really strong emotional foundation and connection in our relationship. We feel very safe with each other. We have good communication. It's not abusive in any way. And I mention that because I don't want you to be watching this and feeling pressure to initiate sex more if the reason that you're not initiating sex is because you feel emotionally disconnected from your partner or abused by them. There are plenty of legitimate reasons why you might be avoiding intimacy with your partner, and I just want to make sure that you're aware of that and that you're not interpreting what I'm about to say in this video as encouragement to just force yourself to have sex with someone that you ultimately just you don't want to. It always has to start at least with a wanting to want to. All right, so here's what I learned. Number 1, initiating intimacy does not have to mean initiating intercourse. In fact, if you talk to your partner about what sex means to them, what they get from it and why it's valuable to them, like what motivates them to want to connect sexually, a lot of the times it's not necessarily about wanting to have an orgasm. It's often deeper than that. Wanting to feel connected, wanting to feel desired, wanting to feel attractive, validated. And having sex, like having intercourse with each other, is just one way to achieve that. So sometimes during this month, what I would offer, if I wasn't quite in the mood for intercourse per se, I would still offer some kind of physical connection and then also shower him with compliments. And I think that socially, we're trained to think of women as people that need a lot of like affirmation and compliments about our attractiveness and beauty. And we forget that men need that too. It's not like a woman-man thing, it's a human thing to want to know that you're desired and that someone's attracted to you. Especially like your person, the person that you're sharing life with and that you're potentially monogamous with, right? Like it's very important to know that that person desires you. And the second thing I learned is that I really enjoy initiating sex that is focused on his pleasure. So even if my body didn't feel available for penetration, or I just wasn't feeling turned on per se, I found it pretty easy to offer something like a lingam massage. And I would get a lot of enjoyment from that. And let me just side note here, I don't make any assumptions about which person in a relationship, particularly a heterosexual relationship, which person is going to be the higher libido partner and who is going to be the lower libido partner. I think it's very frequently the case that the woman wants sex more than the man, and that's totally normal. So whoever is the lower libido partner, just keep in mind that you can still offer physical intimacy to your partner even if your body isn't quite ready for intercourse or penetration, and it can still be a very pleasurable, meaningful connection. Another thing I realized is that in order to initiate sex, I would need to do something to find like my yes, which for me meant a lot of the time finding a way to transition from like work mode, hustle mode, productivity mode, into connection mode. So that could mean that I would initiate sex by asking for like a back rub, or even asking to go on a long walk together just so I could, get back into my body and have a little bit of time to transition from like being so much in my head with, business stuff, job stuff, and moving into that space where I could feel more connected. All right, another side note. If you are someone whose top priority in life is to feel productive, then that could be a reason why your sex drive is dampened. Because sex is one of those things that you really have to do for its own sake. And in some ways, it's just not going to feel productive per se, because that's not the point. The point is to be present, to share pleasure, to deepen and strengthen your intimacy, because those are all inherently valuable things also. The best sex is the sex that just really pulls you into the moment, pulls you into your body, and makes you like forget everything else. So when you're finding your yes to sex, you've got to let go of productivity mode and find your yes to being in the moment. I also realized during this time that initiating sex could simply mean initiating something that I wanted sexually. I could just ask for something for my own pleasure. One of my absolute favorite things is receiving a yoni massage. So that's what I asked for a few of the days. And this probably doesn't need saying, but my husband absolutely loved February. He loved being able to just receive that initiation, to feel being desired, and to not have the responsibility of initiating sex like ever the whole month. And something that I noticed is that he also seemed more like filled up. He started off already being like an amazing partner, but it did seem like throughout February he just took it up many notches. He felt more loving, more complimentary, even more emotionally connected. I do think that by showing him love and desire in this way, that it filled a need that he had, and it like filled his cup, and so he was able to, be in overflow and to give more back to me in return. So that's what I learned from this 28-day experiment of initiating sex every single day. And if you are curious about that lingam massage and yoni massage that I mentioned, I want to let you know that you can get a week of free access to my sexual healing massage course using the link in the video description below. So if that's something that you would like to learn how to do, how to give to your partner, use that link to get on the wait list. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please share it around to anyone you know that might benefit from hearing this message. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so you get notifications whenever new videos are available.
Welcome to a place of family, faith, finance, and relationships. Welcome to another episode of The Family by You. The emphasis is on you.
Greetings and welcome to this edition of Family by You. My name is Colin.